evening. Hopefully we are actually live. Just had a wee bit of a technical glitch there right off the top, but hopefully we are doing good. All right, let's get to it. Welcome to Canadian Starships live stream. My name is Andrew. Thank you for joining me tonight. I am working on a Nova class Starship project, and hopefully tonight I'm going to get a couple of things done. One, I want to get this brand new nacelle portion all masked up and ready to prime on the light block on the inside and get color going on the outside. So that's one of the things I want to get done tonight. Also, I want to get the nacelle pylons installed into the upper section of the Starship tonight. And if I switch over to this view for you, this view is not working at the moment. That's relatively disappointing. I wonder what's wrong with camera view. I'm gonna have to sort that out. Yeah, hi Steve. Yeah, no, just a bit of a rough start to the live stream, and my camera was working right before the stream, and now she's not working. I mean, not my camera, my iPhone. So hopefully I can get this working, because it's pretty nice to have that extra view. Let me see if I can set that up quickly. How are you doing tonight? While I try to get this extra view going for everybody. Okay. Probably stopped working when I stopped working for me when I had to reboot my software right at the beginning of everything, because two of my programs that I run fight over the live stream. So yeah. It's still not. I had this problem before. A little finicky. Trek Forge Creations, greetings. And Steve Copsey, I'm doing great. Glad that everything is kind of working. Well, I've got the one camera view tonight so far. And I've discovered that this whole iPhone streaming display thing is just a wee bit unreliable. So I might need to find a different option. I might need to find a different option. It's really struggling to do this. I don't know. I don't know, but I have one camera tonight, and hopefully one camera is going to be good enough. If I need to, I can always zoom that camera in for you. So it's just nice to have that extra kind of close-up shot without having to deal with the other thing. So greetings, welcome tonight. Let's get to work. First of all, I want to show you something that I've done earlier in the week between live streams. Also, I haven't gotten an update video out yet. I want to get a little bit more work done on the project. The update videos are a little bit flexible as far as when I get them out, depending on how much work I've done on them. So in the last stream, I was working on the mounting system for the post in the bottom half of the ship, and I was playing around with putting some wood in and just trying to decide what I was going to do. I have opened up the hole so that goes in easily, and it's not going to crack or destroy the area around the opening for that stand. But I did make a change on the inside to the mounting point. So I took I took some nice shiny metal and I used that as the mounting bracket support. So same as what I was planning to do with the wood, I did 2 levels. Let me just bring this close to the camera so you can see. Lighting is the only issue. So hopefully you can see that. There's the metal bracket epoxied into the ship there. So it's 2 layers. The top layer is what you see. It's got the smaller hole in there for wires to come through. Then the bottom one is just a smaller section that's epoxied to the underside of this piece of metal that has the larger opening so that the diameter of the rod will just sit in there. And that'll prevent it from doing like this inside the, like moving around this way. So just to lock it in so we don't have any of that lateral motion on the post inside. So I haven't actually tried sitting it on the stand yet. So I wanted to do that here on the stream tonight. So let's see just how well this thing sits on the post as it is. And I haven't shortened the post yet. I think I will be shortening that post. But let's see how this thing sits. Now it is a little bit front heavy at the moment, but it sits pretty nice and straight on there. I'm really happy with that, especially with how it locks in. And I had to get some fresh epoxy 2-part, in the tube. I'll actually show it to you here. This is the stuff I used to secure that mounting bracket in. The other stuff I had that I used to secure the T-junction pipe, this thing in here, into the Enterprise E behind me. That stuff, there must be a life expectancy on it. I didn't really know that, but it just wouldn't set. So I had to take it all out, put it back in. Also, I tried soldering the 2 pieces together, and it felt like that was going to hold, but it actually just then all of a sudden fell apart. So epoxied the 2 pieces together, and I've epoxied it into the kit. And I'm really happy with how this is turning out. It is a little front heavy at the moment, but that will be taken care of. There's the top. There's the top of the ship. And again, that'll be taken care of. Let me get out of the way here a little bit, and let's just grab the back of this. But the back of that is also gray. So that's not very useful, is it? But hopefully that helps out a little bit there, just so that you can see that a little bit better. It's going a little nose heavy at the moment, but once the nacelles go on, because it doesn't take much to lift that nose up. The other thing I might, if that's going to be a problem, what I might do, because I do need to, I am planning on lowering this a little bit. I can even just angle the top of this slightly to help facilitate that nose up pitch just slightly. But let me know in the chat what you think about the alignment on that just sitting there without any electronics inside, without the nacelles on, anything like that. Let me know what you think about how it looks. Also, give me your feedback on whether you think this needs to be, whether the post needs to be lowered or not, sitting on the stand. There's a switch. Yeah, and it will be able to turn and angle this way nicely and freely. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. All right. So let's put the stand back over here. Let's put the top, well, actually we're going to need the top section. And we'll pack that back up. 1.5 inches lower. What's 1.5 inches look like? So we're looking at her sitting roughly there, give or take. That's about 1.5 inches there. All right, what I want to do tonight is I do need to get the fresh nacelle top, which came out so good last week. I was so happy with that. That's got to be taped up and ready for light blocking on the inside. And I also want to start working. I don't know if I'll actually get them fully installed, but need to start. Trek Forge Creation says, yeah, buddy, okay. Yeah, I agree. I think it needs to be sitting a little bit lower. So let's grab these pylons and make sure I get the proper ones on the right side. So this is, or should be, the starboard nacelle pylon. And I've already done a little bit of work on the fit of these, but I'm probably going to have to do a little bit more refinement work before it all goes on in place, because unlike some commercially produced kits, nothing on this quite goes together always as it should. And I might need to open up that aperture for the wires to go through a little better. But which... Okay, no, definitely this way. Okay. Thought I had You use centimeters in Canada. Yeah. Well, it's a little bit sketchy as far as what measurements we use. So if you're asking me how tall I am, then that'll be in feet and inches. If you're asking me how fast you're going, that's going to be in kilometers per hour. If you're asking me how much flour is going into a recipe, that's going to be in cups. If you're asking me how much gas I'm putting into my car, that's going to be in liters. If you're here's a really interesting. So if you're asking me how warm it is, it's going to be in Celsius. None of us know Fahrenheit. And if you're asking us how far it is to Toronto, that's going to be in hours and minutes. So it's all a little bit sketch as far as what measurement you actually use for which situation. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to make this a little bit bigger. I thought I had tested this to make sure that these wires fit through here properly, but I think I'm going to have to chop that out just a little bit more. So generally, I am building, well, I'm not building. Building would be a little bit too generous of a term. I am resurfacing our deck outside. And so when we're dealing with measurements that way, it's generally feet and inches. So our deck is 24 feet long, and the deck boards are 12-foot boards. And so I'm putting them down in 4-foot, 8-foot, and 12-foot sections along a pattern. So it really depends on what the application is. Technically, it's kind of even funny. In our grocery stores, technically everything for fruits and vegetables are sold by the kilogram, but they're listed in big numbers on the signs in price per pounds with a small price per kilograms, because a lot of people still associate, you know, I want a 10-pound bag of potatoes, not a 4 point kilogram bag of potatoes. That would be, you know, it's 2.2 pounds to the kilogram. So whatever that would work out to be. And this is still not liking these going in, and it's not the wires, it's the shrink wrap around the wires. And I want to be very careful. It's a good solder and it's a good shrink wrap, but I don't want to pull it too much at all. So if you are here with me tonight hanging out while I work on this project, please let me know by leaving a comment in the chat. I love to know who I am hanging out with, because this is a two-way conversation. The whole reason I like doing this is so that I can hang out with people while I work on this, which is a little bit more fun for me. Oh, I can hear the neighbors are home. All right, what I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to open up the aperture, or the hole, essentially, that the wires are going through, where the pylon attaches to the ship. And I might actually need to open it up from this side, because sometimes when you only work on it from the inside, the outside actually does not get opened at all, and that could be the sticking point on the shrink tube on the wires. Again, and the shrink tube is there to protect the solder joint. So, Steve Copsey, well, I'm here with my 9-year-old son, Ethan. Hi, Ethan. Thanks for joining me. Let me know if you build models, too. The live streams are great, but interaction is limited. Well, yeah, it's limited to you guys typing on the chat. I have thought that it might be cool to set up a Zoom call between model builders, so that you can all get on the Zoom call and actually talk and chat and stuff while everybody's working on whatever projects they're working on, and everybody can show off what they're doing, and people can give feedback and suggestions and stuff live right there. Hi from Fort Smith, NT. First time checking this out. Shane Mandeville. Well, welcome, Shane. NT. I'm Canadian, and sometimes the short forms for the states I'm not quite as up on. So, what would NT be? I'd have to think about that. I know it. Thing is the moment I try to guess, I'm gonna look really, really stupid or something like that. I mean, not all Canadians know our province short forms, right? I'm actually better. I probably know more airport codes than I do state short forms. All right, so that's good. I've got the wiring in for the nacelle pylon, and it's looking pretty good. I do have some refinement work to do on the pylons. I'm going to bring the camera in just a little bit, okay? So don't mind me while I bring the camera in a wee little bit here. Hopefully. Actually, I'm going to drop it down a bit. This is why I really enjoy having that other camera angle with my phone, but I even splurged the $10.99 Canadian. Oh, that's not any good. I also splurged the $10.99 Canadian to get the full version, and I think that's when it started causing me some problems. All right. Isn't that NWT, Northwest Territories? That's what I thought. Wow. See, I would not have thought Northwest Territories, because that's Canada. That I should know from high school geography class. Here's me being a bad Canadian. I was sure that was NWT. That is still not good. All right, I'm just going to need to make sure that, you know what, I need a bit of a narrower desk or table here. So pylon is obviously, it's sticking off the end here, but wiring is in and it's looking good. Obviously the wires aren't going to be that long. I just wanted to make sure that I could get enough in there that I wouldn't have to worry about length to wire it up with the rest of the circuit. This is going to just be a single circuit Starship. It's such a small ship, I'm not going to worry about multiple circuits for flashings and stuff like that. I don't think that the Voyager ships really had a whole lot of flashing lights and stuff, so. So, Northwest Territories, I have never been that far up. But I'm sure at some point I will get up there. I hear that it is very nice. I mean, apart from winter, obviously, but it would be perfect for me for summers because I don't like the heat. So really nice summers, from what I've heard. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, only flashing strobes, and I'm not really going to worry about that. For the size of the ship and time restraints, I'd have to get I'd have to get a circuit that's bigger than I want to be able to use on this project, and probably that would do more things than I would want it to do. So I don't think I am going to do that. Let's see. Is this going to go in there for me? I was sure. You know what? I probably when I opened this up earlier for the wiring to go through, I was probably testing it just with the wires that I had embedded into the nacelle pylon rather than the additional wire and shrink tube that I put on here. Okay, let's try not to slice my finger. Oh, I'm not allowed to slice my finger twice in 2 days. I mentioned earlier that I am resurfacing a deck, so putting new boards down on our deck. And I've got 8 out of 26 rows of board onto a new board on the deck. Really cool. It's a composite and it's got grooved edges, and you put a little clip in the groove and secure it down to the deck supports that way. And so essentially you don't have screws and stuff showing on the deck, which is pretty cool. And so I've got 8 rows of that installed, just enough, I figured, to put the barbecue back on the deck. And of course, I try to do it myself with no help. And yeah, there must be some sort of really sharp edge on the barbecue. And well, I done went and getting those aligned is going to be a tricky feat. I done and sliced my finger open somehow on the barbecue. So I think I'm going to get one of these installed and then match the other pylon up to that, because again, it doesn't just perfectly clip in. There's give and play, because it is a garage kit. And so I'm gonna have to get one installed and then do my best to line up the other pylon with the first one. That, to me, makes the most sense. This is your chance to pipe in and tell me if you have a better suggestion, because unlike a Polar Lights or an AMT or anything like that, the tabs really aren't there to make sure that they're aligned for you. You've got to do all the alignment yourself. So anybody got any better suggestions? So if I look over this way, it's just because that's where the screen is that I'm looking at the chat and looking to see if anybody has any better suggestions. I'm going to need to do a lot of putty. I'm going to have to do a lot of putty work. But I wanted to get these on before I do all that refinement work, because the joints where the pylons join the main hull section are going to need a good chunk of work, and so I might as well do all that at the same time. Anybody got any better suggestions on installing these pylons? You wanted to align the nacelles. I will align the nacelles with each other when they get installed, but they're not getting installed yet. But I have to get the pylons installed before I do any more work on the hulls, lighting, and getting the 2 parts put together because of the wiring. So because I have to get all the wiring connected in, and they need to be fully installed before I can do any of that other wiring. So what I'm thinking is get one nacelle pylon in place, nicely secured, and then install the other one and align it with the first one I did. Then if the pylons are straight and at the same angle, then I can, when I go to install the nacelles themselves, then I'll be able to have a good alignment with the pylons, at least to start with, and then I will line up the the nacelles separately as well, and they'll get played with on the pylons. The alignment of the warp engines is always a bit of a tricky thing. I think I'm going to start with the port nacelle pylon. And I think I'm going to use the same epoxy to do that. I'm not messing around with CA on the resin with those structural points on this kit. So Trek Forge Creation says, I'd make an attempt to tape the nacelles to the pylons, then align with the hull. Well, the nacelles have a lot of work as well that need to be done. And at most, I would get the tops kind of in, but, I mean, sorry, the bottom of the nacelles sort of in, but there needs to be a lot of work done with these before they can go on. But now that you mention it, and I'm looking at it, I might, before I install the pylons, and I might need to take this out. Let me just get this off of here. The trick is that it's a garage kit, right? It's a garage resin kit. And not quite everything fits the same. Also, there's the added benefit of, well, benefit, I'm not sure benefit's the right word, but the added challenge of the fact that I recast the pylons, yeah. I recast the pylons so I could embed the wires, and I think that they need some work. It's definitely going to need some work before it'll go into the housing on the nacelle. Maybe the nacelle needs to work, so maybe I should Trek Forge Creations. Garage kits are tough because the pylon can be straight, but nacelles go in different directions. Yeah, that is very, very true. And something I've heard other people mention about this kit is that the tabs for the pylons don't fit with the tabs created on the either the hull or on the nacelles. So I'm going to have to shave the opening and slightly increase the opening where the pylon attaches to the nacelle. And so it's a very good point that I need to look at that before I attach the pylons to the ship, because if I attach them to the ship and then the nacelles don't fit properly, it's going to be a lot harder to make those adjustments once the pylons are permanently attached to the ship versus right now where I can manipulate it and play with it. So, yep. Let's see. I can't remember what Aztec Tummy did off the top of my head. He did 2 of them. Yeah, so he did, this was back in 2016. He did, actually, this picture on here is the one he did. He did the ones for the box art. And I've got to say, all of the casting issues I have experienced with this kit so far including the big one. Let me just show you the big one that led me to recast more parts than I cared to. And this would be a good opportunity for me to do this. But look at, oh, here we go. Let me get these together here. Well, not that they'll actually go together. But anybody see the problem? Who can tell me the problem there? Let me turn this way. You might be able to see it better. Oops. You might be able to see it better this way. If I pin this down on this side, so I've got the port side pinned down. Yeah. So this bottom piece, here's the story. You can even just alignment. You can even just see it in this piece here. It is really, really warped. So you've got to expect a little bit of warping with garage kits, right? Or a little bit of misalignment or whatever. And this is beyond being able to putty, because if you try to force these down, it pushes the inside up, inside up, and it just continues to be distorted. So I put it in hot water, and I try to get it to soften up, and I try to get it to reshape. But the casting is so thick in certain sections that it wasn't going, thought I was being nice and gentle, and snap. The whole thing snapped. So I glued it back together, and I took a mold, recasted, and when I took it out of the mold, because obviously the new mold was going to have that warp built right in there. So when I took it out of the mold, I laid it down flat and taped it down so that it would, because it was still pliable when I took it out of the mold, so that it would hard cure flat and then would mate better with the upper section. So yeah, that was a challenge. And when I saw Lou do his, I never remembered him having that problem. And so I went back to his videos, and sure enough, the casting was mint and pristine, like mint pristine, and he didn't have any of those issues. And I assume that, you know, his kit was probably one of the, because he was doing the box art, it was probably one of the early kits, like early castings from the mold. And I figure my best guess is that over time, there have been some issues crop into the molds. So I think it's just a matter of over time. But yeah, so he did the Nova class and the Rhode Island, and he did them for the box art. And actually, I just recently emailed Federation Models to give them a bit of a heads up about the casting issues I've run into on this kit, and you know, let them know that because I'm doing this on YouTube, I've had a lot of interest from people wanting to know, you know, where they could get the kit. And I told them, you know, I'm passing them all to the Federation Models website, But I did say I'm just warning everybody about the problems I've had with the kit, and I don't think they were too happy with that. They weren't happy with me letting people know about the issues I have experienced with the kit, because they're afraid that it could affect their sales. Now, I mean, I'm not a huge YouTuber or anything like that. I've got a few people that watch, but it's not the end of the world. So I sent back a clarification email and said, you know, it's not, I'm not speaking harshly about the kit. It's a garage kit, and you have to expect that there's issues. I said, I'm just telling people the issues I've had with it, and it could be that mine is just a one-off problem, and that I was letting them know the issues I was having so that they could check and make sure that any of their other kits that they have around, or any more that they get from whoever is supplying them with these, is good. So hopefully I'll hear back from them, but it's been a number of days now. Like I didn't get in touch with them because I wanted a new kit or anything. They said they did say that they will, you know, I should have contacted them for some replacement parts, and that they support all of the kits that they sell. Oh, that is possibly a fit. Almost. Almost a fit, not quite. At least it's moving in that direction. All right. So at least I know that I'm on the right track here. So I don't know if all of the parts are like that. Lou also did the box art for the Rhode Island, which is essentially the same ship, but when they had the Rhode Island in the last episode of Voyager, one of the guys working on the show decided he wanted to rework it because they were just going to use the Nova class over again, and he decided he wanted to give it a bit more of a treatment. And from what I've learned from Trek Yards, he kind of did it on his own time over the weekend and did a bit of a redesign so it looked a little bit different. And so it removes the recessed bridge, so it's more of a dome bridge. It smooths out the front nose section and just kind of streamlines a lot of things, which actually I think it takes away from the style of the ship. I much prefer the original Nova class design, but he did that one as well. And I was just chatting with somebody on one of the Facebook groups I'm part of who is working on the Rhode Island, and so they showed pictures of the casting of the Rhode Island, and I've got to say it is head and shoulders above quality-wise to the Nova. So I don't know, don't quote me on this, but I think that if it's based on the same masterwork, then I think they probably did a fair bit of work to try and improve how they produce the kit. So, all right. More refinement. More finicky refinement, actually. So, if you are watching and you haven't said hello in the chat yet, make sure you do so I know who's watching. Just stop talking for a moment because I want to make sure I need to just trim this corner off a little bit, and I want to make sure I don't accidentally catch those wires, because if I catch those wires, it's a new casting a new cast of this part that has to happen. And I have to get this project done no later than July 30th for the Trek Yards model building contest. So So having to recast more parts would just set me behind. All right. 3 of you are still with me. Thank you for sticking with me. Oh, I think if we don't have success, we are awfully, awfully close. I think I just need to trim a little bit more. I'm sure this is not the exciting content you tuned in to see. But this is the stuff that just has to get done. And it's not quite what I was expecting to need to do during the stream in order to get these pylons in place, but can't rush ahead. The finicky stuff has to be done. All right. Let's try this again. If you're still with me, let me know in the chat. Hopefully I haven't lost everybody due to boredom or something. If you have a question for me, drop it in the chat. I am happy to oh, that's so close to fitting. That is so close that the extra might just be able to be dealt with with a little bit of putty. Oh, that is so close. You know what? Part of me oh, still they're working on Windows on your Enterprise E, Window World. You gotta love it. Part of me is wondering if I need to deal with attaching this now as well. Now the nice thing is, I do need it open in order to do the work on the lighting and stuff. So I could even just leave it pressure fit on here for now. And then I can install, okay, this is me just thinking through how I might approach this right now. So please let me know. Steve is still here, perfect. So guys, let me know. Right now this is pressure fit on. It won't stay pressure fit on. It'll get epoxied in place at the appropriate time. But because it's so perfectly pressure fit on there for now, maybe I leave this on and keep it on there while I attach the pylons to the ship. That'll help me with nacelle pylon alignment, but also it'll allow me to have this open when I'm doing the work. And the nice thing is I've opened, let me see if I can show this to you in the camera. I need a little bit more light over here, I think. But let me just do this. And this will allow me to get really close and perfectly in focus. Well, perfectly by I mean I'm looking at the screen across the room. There's quite a big opening there. And I can actually secure this from the inside. So I can put the, if I secure the bottom of the nacelle to the pylon first, that gives me the opportunity to do all the wiring inside I need to and make sure that I don't have, I'm not trying to like push wires into a incredibly tiny space in order to install the nacelle, and then I can epoxy that from the inside, and it'll be an incredibly strong bond. You know what? I'm kind of leaning that way. Tell me what you think in the chat. And also tell me if I'm not explaining that well and you don't understand what I'm talking about. Let's see. You can install the pylon with the lower nacelle, then work it up attached. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It shouldn't be too brittle, and I'm not gonna be throwing this thing around. But yeah, it's a pretty tight fit. So if I get this fully properly in there, I'm gonna need to do a little bit of putty work around the seam. But then yeah, so I can do all the work I need to with the cap off, because the cap will go on there. Obviously, it won't close with wires in there, but I can leave the cap off, do all the lighting work I need to inside. I can heavy duty attach with epoxy there, and actually I could probably do the same thing. And no, because I didn't open up the whole length of it on the body. But although maybe I should, so that I can epoxy from the inside. Oh, that's an idea. That is an idea. Okay, well, okay. Can you tell that it's live? Because I'm thinking through all this stuff on the fly. So this has given me an idea. I'm going to remove this pylon. Yeah, you think we're speaking the same language? I think so too. Again, one of the benefits of doing this live. So here's what I'm thinking. I really like the idea. Here, let me see if I can show you on. Okay. It's so hard. Anyway, so the mounting point for the pylon is open all the way through, right? So I can take this coffee stir stick, I can stick it through, and I can move it back and forth like this. So it's open, it's a slot, right? It's an open slot. And I can secure the nacelle pylon, to the nacelle with epoxy from the inside. And that's going to make it a lot easier not to get overflow on glue. I could do the same thing on the mounting points where the pylons fit in. So I could remove the resin. Okay, so I'm trying to do this so that I can see what I'm talking about here. I'm going to increase the size of my screen here so I can see what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can do this just by looking at the camera. It's like, yeah, so open up this slot all the way along here where this, I can't even really call it a tab. It fits into that slot on the outside. So if I open it all the way to the inside, I can run epoxy down there on the inside, and it's going to create a really solid bond for the pylons to the ship. And there's no way those things are going to move after they get secured in that way. So I think that's probably a smart move. So I'm going to shelf the installation of the pylons for tonight because I want to, I think I'm going to get that open up. And thank you for giving me the idea to at least temporarily install the bottom of the nacelles, because that's opened up this whole rabbit trail that I think is going to make the construction of this thing a lot better. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, so let's put that aside, and I'm going to work on prepping this, there is still a bit of casting tab on here. I just need to quickly not slice my finger and get that cleaned up. If you were with me last week, you know that I recast this part live because I've been having so much trouble with these upper pylons. Okay, I think that's... Okay, I'm doing the close my eyes and feel it with my fingernail trick because my eyes on these clear parts can deceive me. I might need to sand that a little bit later once I can see it, once there's some paint on there. Okay. I'm trying a new type of masking tape. I really don't want to spend loads of money, if I don't have to, on specialized masking tape for model building because one, it's expensive, and two, apparently I don't have paper towel here anymore. My paper towel has disappeared. Oh well. There is more than one way to clear dust. Can of air. Works every time. Is there a reinforcement in the pylon? No, there is not like a metal reinforcement or anything in the pylon. The only reinforcement is the wiring, and I don't think that really works as much of a reinforcement. But they're really solid. They're short, and the weight on the nacelles is not going to be extreme. So unless it gets left in the car in the middle of summertime, I don't think I'm going to have any drooping issues, especially if I attach them the way that I'm thinking about attaching them, where they're really well epoxied from the inside. I don't think that they're going to go anywhere, and I don't think that the resin is going to soften and bend. I should be pretty good there. If they were longer and thinner, because they are fairly thick for the length of the pylon. If they were longer, so if it was like a resin piece for the Enterprise A, where it's that long nacelle pylon, so it's very thin for the length of it, and there wasn't any metal reinforcement inside, I'd be worried about those drooping and bending. But I'm not too concerned on this one, just because of the size, the length of the pylon versus the thickness of it. So we should be pretty good. All right. What was I saying? Oh yeah, like Tamiya tape or something like that. One, expensive for what it is, and two, I don't have a hobby shop here anymore, so I have to order through Amazon or pick stuff up when I'm at another hobby shop, which isn't happening a lot right now because we are still under heavy travel restrictions because of COVID-19. So, all right, I'm going to start by hopefully using that little yellow mask pattern I made. Hopefully it's still around here. And, oh, here it is. So my first live stream, I made this little pattern for the inside of the chiller grills, and I held on to it. I didn't lose it. What I have lost, though, is my pencil. There it is. So TrekForge Creations, were you worried that about drooping of those pylons? Is that why you were asking if they were reinforced? Okay, I've got a blade around here somewhere that I was using for a straight edge. Found it. Oh, also, I think I asked you this before, but I can't remember what you said. What are you doing? What are you doing about those 4 big windows on the top of the Enterprise E saucer that don't show up on the cast, like on the part? If you're wondering which ones I'm talking about the 4 big ones, right on the front there, because they're actually not molded into the kit. I think I asked this already, but if I did, I can't remember what you said. Okay, let's get this cut. I'm undercutting my lines a little bit because I think my pencil was going out from the mask too much. So, I mean, out from the pattern too much. Trekforge says, yeah, I have heard resin is notorious for sagging. Yeah. If I was using, so you can get replacement pylons for the Enterprise E, replacement resin pylons for the E, and I would hope that those would have some sort of reinforcement in them, because again, they're a lot longer for how narrow they are, and I would hope that they would have some metal reinforcement, and that they would have probably metal reinforcement in the form of a tube, so that those might work, so that you could run wires through them. Oh, you have those E-pylons, no rod? Really? So I'm assuming you're lighting it? Are you lighting your model? And if so, what are you doing about running wires to your nacelles? Oh, you bought it for the better deflector dish? Yeah. Did you try, just out of curiosity, have you tried working with the deflector dish housing that comes with the kit? I think I actually had to use the one that came with the second kit, because I ended up having to buy an emergency second kit because my nacelle chiller grills, well, one of them snapped on me when I was sanding it. No, not when I was sanding it. It actually snapped when I was trying to remove it from the sprue. That's what happened. I think a second one snapped on me when I was sanding it. So the first one snapped when I took it off the sprue. I contacted Round 2, and they, for $10 US shipping, they sent me a replacement chiller grill. They didn't send me the whole sprue, they just sent the chiller grill. And then the second one snapped on me when I was sanding it. So at that point, I decided I needed to get an emergency replacement kit. And fortunately, the hobby shop north of Toronto, where my in-laws live, actually had one on site. And so when I was driving through, up to my in-laws' cottage in Huntsville, I was able to stop in and pick up the replacement kit. So I have two, which is also, I end up redoing some extra stuff. But I think the first one snapped on me, and I might have used the second one on the, actually I haven't used the second one yet. I'm running into the table with my chair, and something fell onto the floor. Oh, I think it's just a plastic cup. Not the end of the world. So, my housing snapped. You're not going to be able to see it on the camera, but my housing snapped right here at the top of the deflector dish. And it doesn't fit well into the kit. It is the worst fitting part on that whole kit. So does the replacement part fit better into the E? Okay. Yes, lighting, trenching, okay. I like it because it has the detailed quantum torpedo launcher, okay. Windows on the front lower saucer were terrible, not scribed, and small. So which windows are you talking about? Really, it fits worse than the kit part? I didn't, okay. Sorry. Somebody must have challenged them to make it fit worse than the existing kit part, because the existing kit part fits horribly. So windows on the front lower saucer were terrible, not scribed, and small. So which windows are you talking about? So there's the three sections here. There's the three sections on each side, and then there's all of the windows in the little trench. So in these trenches, on the inside of the trench wall, there's okay, the part has squared edges. The deflector housing has squared edges? That's strange. You know what? I might have forgotten. There's a setting I discovered on YouTube that allows me to have a lower delay, and I forgot to click that. So there is a front lip that should have a bank of windows. Oh. Are you talking about... Okay. Are you talking... Let's see if I can... Okay, I need to move my YouTube window out of the way. Are you talking... So there's these windows that are scribed in there, and are you talking about the ledge just in front of that? So are there supposed to be windows on that part? You can see that a little bit better. This part here. You know what? I am going to open up some reference material. If you see me looking back here, it's because I have, okay, yes, exactly, okay. I've got one of my screens from my computer here on the desk with me that has everything I need for the live stream. But I've got two other screens from my computer which are over on my desk over there. So if I look back, it's because a window opened up on my main monitor over there. Okay. Let's see if I can get, okay, reference photos. Okay, where is the best? Front of saucer. Okay, where's my mouse? Oh, this is weird. Nope, that's top of saucer. It doesn't show those aren't the right spots. So I really only have one photo. Nope, that's underside. I mean overside. Okay, I thought I had a good reference for most of the kit, but I don't have any reference for that section of the bottom. Huh, I'm gonna have to look that up. Let's see if I can find that. Studio, oh sorry, Enterprise eStudio model. Okay, that shot doesn't quite show. Wow, there's not a lot of photographs. There's not a lot of photographs of the front of the bottom section. None of the studio model pictures I have, at least, show that part. And I wonder, let's see. I'm going to check the opening shot, Enterprise E first contact. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna mute my audio. Okay. I've just muted it. And I'm gonna try to see if I can get a screen cap of it when it, oh no, that's not the shot I wanted. Oh, here we go. Oh my. Okay. Okay, let's, how can I get that on there? I can do it this way. Okay, let me grab my display capture. I'm I'm not sure which display it is. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's mute that and get rid of that. So it's not display capture 2. I think I need to add a new. Okay, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one. Okay, hopefully you can see that on the stream now. Oh, oh. Nope. Nope. There we go. Okay, so there are a whole whack of windows there. Oh my good gravy. Okay, yeah, I see. All right, let's try to get, okay. Let's mute that, let's get that back. And where is, I need my live stream back. Yeah, best shots when they're firing on the cube. Yeah, so that's the shot I got from first contact. And I'm gonna have to do more work on that project. I'm gonna have to open up more windows. Okay, it's more work, but thank you. That's gonna make it more accurate. And once I know, then I can't not deal with it. If I don't know about a detail I've missed, it's not a big deal. But the moment I find out about it, yeah, you kind of did blow my mind there a little bit. The moment that I find out about it, then I have to go in and I have to deal with it and I have to fix it. There's a detail like that on the Nova class that I didn't realize until I watched the most recent Trek Yards overview of the Nova class, and that is 4 windows underneath. And you can see why I missed them. 4 windows underneath here, along the back, under the shuttle bay. So I'm gonna have to scrape those windows because I didn't mask them. And because now I know about them, I have to deal with them. If I hadn't noticed them, I wouldn't have, it wouldn't have bothered me. But now that I know, I don't think any light's gonna get through there just because of the location and the casting, but I should at least get rid of the gray paint that's on top of them and then mask them off so that other coats of paint don't get on. But yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, oh well, more for me to do. And now that I know, I've got to let some other guys who are building this know that they should probably take a look at those windows. So, yeah, you're the same way? Yeah. So I do say that modeling is my way to vent my perfectionist tendencies in a way that doesn't annoy other people. So, anyway, got completely off track. I am supposed to be masking the inside of this nacelle to get it ready for light blocking. So I have another mask to make. There are some other windows that are missing on the saucer section of the Enterprise E. So let me know if you've already caught these ones. I'm sure you did. It's not hard to notice, but they are here. And I missed them. the first time. So there's a set of windows here that is molded on the kit. Their paired windows on the other side are there on the studio model. They are completely missing on the kit. So I've got a video update on the Enterprise E where I showed how I went through and added these missing windows. But yeah, those were a pure joy to put in there. And I use that term loosely. But yeah, so there are things. It's like the infamous missing windows on the Enterprise D on the bottom of the saucer, ahead of just forward of the captain's yacht. That no matter how many times AMT repops that kit for the 1400 scale Enterprise D, they never fix the missing windows. And yeah, I know it would mean a whole new tooling for the lower saucer, but to me it would be worth it to get that detail in there. But that's just me. Steve Copsey, I know that feeling about perfection, yeah. And Trekforge, yeah, I'll use your vid for the upper window so much harder without the imprint. Yeah. Yeah, definitely a challenge. And did you end up telling me tonight what you're doing about those 4 big windows on the top? Are you adding them? I know so many people just ignore it. They just do like the 2 tiny windows that are molded in instead of actually doing the full windows that are there. And okay, so I can understand if you don't replace, sorry, I'm just rearranging some screens so I can see the chat and see what I'm doing on the camera. I can understand, like on the Enterprise E, if you don't do those windows on the bottom of the saucer. I can understand if you don't clean out the teeny tiny windows at the backs of these upper deck sections and observation lounge and that kind of thing, because they are very finicky, and I know a lot of people just simply won't want to do that. I can understand if you don't want to take the time or the effort to deal with those side windows that are missing, because they are finicky. They are very tricky to get in there. But those 4 big windows on the front are an iconic part of the ship. They are like one of the central focuses on the saucer section. You've got those 4 windows, and you've got the registration number. Why you wouldn't want to try to get those windows in, I'm not sure. I mean, I even know like professional model builders who have done this kit, and they've ignored those 4 big windows. So, I mean, that one I don't understand. Like, I can even understand not replacing those lower section windows on the Enterprise D, because you have to cut it out. You have to put a replacement part in, either the photo etch or a resin part. I've got resin parts for mine, but not doing those big windows on the front top section of the saucer. Trekforge, I have to add them since I saw it in your video. Okay. We're even on that. It doesn't look right without them now. Yeah, it's iconic, right? So, okay. I did not create a pattern for the Buzzard collector, so I'm going to have to do this again. I'm going to have to make the mask for the Buzzard collectors again. Okay. Trek Forage, did you clear out the little windows and plan to light the little windows on the back of the neck near the edge? The back of the windows near the back of the neck near the edge. Actually, I can get that from the outside. Manual focus is the only way this is going to work. Are those the windows? Let's see, I can get the white. There's those ones, there's those big ones. Oh, that's a bit of a better shot. Same on that side. I'm assuming those are the ones you're talking about. They are cleared out. How close can I get and get this in focus? I think that's about as good as I can do. It's about as good as I can do. So that's the job I did on them. So let me know if those are the windows you're talking about. So these big long ones down here and then all up the side. Are those the ones that you were talking about? I really need to make sure that I remember to choose the option that doesn't give me that big, huge delay on the chat. And I need a little bit of a sharper pencil. Yep, those are what I'm working on now. Thinking about how to get some light to them. How am I doing that? It's been a little while since I've worked on this. So, I think yeah. Okay. If you want, let me reposition the camera. This is going to take a brief moment to reposition. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take you on a little bit of a ride. Hopefully all my connection wires come along with me. If they don't, this is going to be a short... This is going to be a very short ride if they don't. I'm just going to... Okay. Okay. I might have to switch to manual focus on this. Also, I'm going to lock my lens. Otherwise, pointing it directly down There we go. Lock the lens so it doesn't slide down on me. Okay. Try to get this into focus here. So there is the part with the windows. Now what I did was I removed all that plastic. One, I need an area for the wires to go down through. So I have a section there for wires to go down through. They're going to run underneath the shuttle bay that I'm installing in the saucer section. So I needed an area for the wires to go down. And I opened that area up with my Dremel grinder so that the lighting in the secondary hull is also going to light those windows. Now, let me just see if I can. Those very edge windows right here may not be able to catch the light because they might be too close to the joint seam. But those big windows on the back there definitely should be able to catch the light. So that is my plan. That's how I am planning to light those. So I don't know if that helps you or not, but that's how I am doing it. All right. I don't know if I've got that camera back in the right spot. Probably not. But the Enterprise E is just on hold while I get the Nova class, because the Nova has a due date. The Enterprise project doesn't have a due date. So let's see. Hijacked your stream. That is perfectly okay. You know, this interaction is exactly why I like working on this on stream. So I have, if I need to do focused work, I have other nights when I'm not streaming to do highly focused work. This night is for interacting with other people, so I'm perfectly happy to have my stream hijacked, if that is even the right term to use. Because the Enterprise E is a perfectly legitimate project that I'm working on. All right. I'm just going to get this cut out. And besides, I'm not going to get everything that all my goals accomplished anyway, because there's fiddly work I need to do that's not really conducive to a stream of opening up those channels. So yeah, and before I stick this on, I should make another copy of it. A reverse copy. Actually, I can make that reverse copy from the negative. So, talking about negatives, this is kind of cool. These little forceps tweezer pointy picker-uppy things, those were actually used in the photo lab. I used to work at a grocery store when I was younger. I worked there for 13 and a half years. Worked at the grocery store through high school, And then through university, worked during the summers. Actually, I worked 2 grocery stores. For 8 years, I worked 2 grocery stores. And so while I was at school and home for the summers, I paid tuition by basically working nonstop at 2 grocery stores. I think I was working like 60-hour weeks during the summers as a student at grocery stores. And one of the jobs I did at the grocery store I worked at for 13 and a half years, all through high school, all through school, and actually even after I got my first proper job after university, I worked part-time in my proper job and worked the other part-time at the same store. I worked in the photo lab for a little bit. I actually was I was a front-end service. I started as a front-end service clerk when I was 15 years old, which was essentially a packer. And then I was part of a pilot project where they were training packers as cashiers, so if it got busy, they could throw us on. Because up to that point, it was only cashiers were cashiers and packers were just packers, collecting carts and doing cleanups and all that kind of stuff. And so I started doing that. Shortly after, I was moved to our customer service desk and then started doing cash office, which I really liked. I loved the high detail involved in handling the money and making sure everything balanced and, perfectionist things. And I also worked in the photo lab. And those are actually discarded tong, tweezer, doohickeys, forceps, whatever you want to call them, from the photo lab for handling film, wet film. So that's cool. Tools that weren't meant for modeling originally, but I use them for modeling. All right, there we go. I'm not sold that this special tape is any better than the blue stuff I've been using, but we shall see. All right, so the green probably won't come up. Well, it's running up well, but there's the inside of the chiller grills and the bizarre collectors. So essentially, it'll turn out to match this one that's already been light blocked inside. This is the dud. It's got the air bubble, so this is the replacement for this one. The air bubble is right in the chiller grill, and it's not. So what threw me off is that the air bubble is embedded inside the resin, and so it's not like it's a void on the surface, either on the front or the back. It's actually between the two surfaces, and the problem is it shows up. It shows up on the chiller grill, and it's right on the chiller grill. So that was definitely cause to recast. Now, I've got to say, the air bubble is not part of the original parts. Again, making a few modifications to make the kit work better for me. I made molds and recast because I wasn't happy with the originals. So I did that just to make it work better for the project I am doing. Okay, now I need to mask off the top. And last time I did this, I really fiddly placed off masking along the edge, but I don't think it was really worth my time because the tape kind of peels off. If it's a little bit humid, it peels off, and paint gets underneath there on the mating surface of the part. So I think I'll just scrape any of that paint off afterwards. So I'm just going to do quick, easy mask of the outside of this. Might actually need to do it in 2 parts. two halves. All right, anybody still there? The chat has gone quiet. Am I just talking to myself now? Because if I'm just talking to myself, that's no fun. I mean, I could keep on talking. I could talk and talk and talk. Somebody needs to hijack my stream. Listening. All right. All right. I enjoy playing Minecraft. I've actually got another YouTube channel for Minecraft, which I'm not actually doing a whole lot with right now because I'm more focused on this project than anything. But when I was first getting into playing Minecraft, I was watching a guy on YouTube who only had a handful of subscribers at the time. Like, when I say handful, I mean, I can't remember exactly how many. But he would basically initially do everything he was doing in his Minecraft world on camera, no matter what it was. And he doesn't do it that way anymore, but he would tell stories as he was playing. And it was incredible how he was able to intricately tell a story while he was doing this other stuff. And it's taken me a while to try to do that, to be able to keep a narrative going while my mind is concentrating on doing other work. And it's just something I've been trying to work on so that I can talk, I could tell a story, and my mind is kind of half split on the story and the job at hand. But do I have another story to tell? I don't know. Do you guys have any questions about anything I'm doing? Or how I'm planning to deal with certain things? And it can be this project or the Enterprise E project. Or it could be a project that I've got coming down the road. Trek Forge. Oh, as I was saying earlier, that E deflector dish housing on the replacement is squared. The original piece is rounded, as well as the receiving portion of the hull is rounded. Yeah? I don't know. It doesn't fit very well. And I was just curious if the replacement part fit any better, but I don't know if it doesn't fit better. That's actually kind of sad, actually, that the aftermarket replacement. I'm getting the blue tape. Not happy with the green tape. The green tape is not sticky enough. Oh, that's better. There we go. Literally square peg in a round hole. Yeah, you got what? I mean, you don't have to say if you don't want to, because sometimes aftermarket providers get upset if you speak critically of their parts. But oh, I caught the edge of the inside masks Now I'm having to flatten them out. What, if you don't mind me asking, what company made the aftermarket part? Again, you don't have to say if you don't want to, but now I've got the corner gas theme. I've had the theme from Corner Gas going through my head for the last number of days. I mean, yeah, I've also been watching it for the last number of days, but sometimes music just gets stuck in your head. I've got a 3.5-year-old daughter, and she was a huge Wiggles fan. Huge Wiggles fan for like from 1 year old till about 3. She still likes them. She's just not as focused on them anymore. And do you think I could go a day without having a Wiggles song stuck in my head? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. But now I've got Corner Gas stuck in my head. StarCrafts. Huh. The how many StarCraft things do I have? I've got a few kits. My Akira is definitely StarCrafts. But I think my other kits are all Alliance. So on Federation models, that's the first page. Alliance is the first page. So my Nova class is Alliance. I have a solid resin Constellation class. That's StarCraft. And I think the Runabout Interior is StarCraft. But my Akira class is definitely StarCraft, and it's the 1000 scale clear cast Akira class ship. And the molding on that looks really nice. It will work just fine after modifying the inner ribs of the secondary hull. Okay. What do those things look like? The inner ribs. Okay, yeah. I see what you're talking about there. So those top cross beam sections. I'm assuming those are there for structural support, but I'm not sure. All right, how we're doing? Okay, that is masked off. So hopefully, if it's a nice day tomorrow, I will get 2 coats of black and 2 coats of white on the inside of that. That is perfect. So, didn't quite accomplish everything I wanted to. Yeah, modeling is fantastic. I've been thinking about this question. If you build models, do you build models because you want to have the model? Or do you build the models because you want to build the models? And you couldn't care less if you kept the model afterwards or if you sold it or whatever. Which is your driving factor? Do you build it because you want to have the model, or do you build it because of the building process and having the model isn't as important? I'm really curious to see which way people fall on that. But I've got the interior of that. Well, I've got the nacelle ready for light blocking on the inside. And I problem solved a lot of things with the installation of the nacelles, pylons, and the nacelles. So I'm going to continue to work on that process off camera. I'm going to open up the entire, you can't really see that there. Let me do this thing where I come closer to the camera and probably put it on manual focus to show you. Just so you get a good view of what I'm talking about. My camera is behind the lighting, so that's probably about the best I'm going to get. So, there we go. Okay. That's about the best shot I'm going to get. So there's the hole for the wiring to come through, but I'm going to open up that slot all the way down where that quote-unquote tab for the pylon fits in. And so then I will just sock the epoxy to the tab of the pylon into there, and that should give it a really, really good solid hold on that pylon. And then that ain't gonna move anywhere. Yeah, that's not going, if I do that, that's not going anywhere. So I'm gonna work on that off camera. Steve says, I build it because of the detail that I can add, and I keep it. Yeah. I think it's an interesting question, because like I'm building this because I love to build. And this is a nice small kit, and I will probably keep it and hold on to it. It'll probably sit on my office desk at work or something like that. And you know, I can show people when they come along, and if it's something that they're interested in, it's a point of contact and connection, right? But if I took this to Wonderfest and somebody offered me the right price for it, I'd sell it. I think like I love the building more than the having, and I like the having. Like I will not, my Akira class, there's no way I would get rid of my Akira class if when I build it. Because it's one of my favorite ships. And this one, I could always, like I've still got the original. It's not really overly buildable, but I still have it if I ever wanted to do that again. But my Akira, there's no way I would get rid of it. But yeah, if somebody offered me the right price on it, I'd sell it and get another one and build it again, right? Because I like the building process. But I think I enjoy the building a little bit more than the having. That said, I'm probably going to fall in love with certain of my projects that there's no way I would ever sell them, kind of like the Akira. So that's kind of just me. So it is almost 11 o'clock. It's coming up. It's 10:54 p.m. Eastern time. Almost 11. I am at a good breaking point tonight, so I am going to call it there. I hope that you guys enjoyed hanging out. I know I did. So programming note, I haven't fully decided this yet, but I may switch over to doing a live stream on Saturdays instead of Sundays for the next little while, just because it might work out a little bit better family-wise, because Sundays are a very busy day for me, and so it's like a mad scramble to try to get things ready to go for the live stream, because I do another big live in the morning for work, and using all of my own personal gear for that. So I have to get it home, get everything set back up, my computers and everything like that, and get dinner, lunch, dinner, family, kid to bed, all that kind of stuff. So I might look at switching over to Saturday nights for the next little bit, and we'll see how that goes. But I haven't fully decided on that. But the live stream will be posted ahead of time, so you'll get a little bit of a heads up what I finally do decide to do. Might compete with TrekWorks? No. And the reason why I'm doing Sunday nights is so that I avoid TrekWorks, but Boyd is not doing his live for a while. That's why I'm saying I might go to Saturday nights for now until Boyd does his live again, just because it will work out a little bit more, a little bit better. I guess he's having some issues with his technology and stuff, and so he's going to be off of the live thing until he gets some of that technology sorted out. So if he comes back on Saturday nights, I'll switch back over to Sunday nights because there's no way I can compete there. So, and I'm not going to try to compete there. But if he's not doing it and Saturday nights are available, I might just take that for the time being. So yeah, there won't be any conflicts there because he's not live streaming for the next little bit. So yeah, if there's a bigger fish live streaming, and you're the little fish, don't try live streaming when the big fish is streaming, because then you won't get anybody watching. You'll just be kind of working alone. So, all right, that is going to be it for me tonight. Have a great night, guys. We'll see you next week, either on Saturday or Sunday. And I know I said this last week, but I should have my next update out by Friday, assuming that I get enough work done. And if I get the nacelles if I get that area drilled out or cleared out, and I'm able to work on the nacelles a little bit, and the nacelle pylons, then I'll definitely have lots of content for my update video. And if so, I'll have it out on Friday. So have a good night, guys. Thank you for joining me. That is it for me. I'll see you later.